Hello, hello friends. A very good morning to all of you. Today we'll be studying standardization of herbal drugs as per WHO guideline and ICH guideline. So myself, Dr. Pushpendra Kumar Jain, Principal Sri Raghavapur Institute of Pharmacy, will be delivering a lecture on standardization techniques for herbal medicines as per WHO guideline. Today we'll be studying part 1 and next session we'll be studying part 2. So just what are the herbs? So these herbs they include plant material such as leaf, flower, fruit, seed, stem, wood, bark, root, rhizomes or other plant parts which may be entire, fragmented or powdered. So these are all organized drugs. So these herbal drugs, herbal formulations, they include finished labeled product that contain active ingredient. These active ingredients, they are the phytopharmaceuticals or we can say active constituents. They are obtained from aerial parts or the underground part of a plant or the other plant material or combination thereof. Whether they are available in the crude state within the plant populations. So, what are the various steps we'll see? First of all, we'll go for a visual examination. We'll collect a sample and go for foreign organic matters and we'll check the how much foreign organic matters is available in the sample. Then we'll go for organoleptic evaluation. Organoleptic evaluation means color, odor, taste, shape, size. Then we'll go for sensory evaluation. Then quantitative analysis of a drug. Then qualitative analysis of drug. Then bioassay we perform. Then modern analytical techniques. So all these steps they are involved in a standardization parameter of a herbal drug. So in India, just we'll see, India is a very rich, India is having a very rich flora and fauna for herb entire throughout the world related to the herbal drugs. So approximate 8,000 medicinal plants they have been identified out of total 10,000 species. Out of these 8,000 medicinal plants, 3,500 they are edible and they are also act as a medicinal. They are having a medicinal property as well as they are edible by the citizens. 1,000 medicinal plants they are having some other properties. 550 plants they have used as a fibers. 425 plants they provide gums, resins and dyes. And 325 plants they are having a pesticidal properties. So like this we have classified the herbal drugs available in our country. So what do you mean by the standardization? Standardization confirms confirmation of the identity and determination of the quality and purity and detection of natural adulterant by various parameters like morphological, microscopical, physical, chemical and biological. As previously I have told you, just we'll see. So number one, we'll go for the authentication process. Authentication of a drug which can be done with the help of various botanicals gardens authentications by NBRI, CDRI, National Botanical Lab. Then we'll go for microscopic as we'll go for macroscopy and microscopy where we'll observe the various organoleptic properties and cellular structure. Then we'll go for extractive values, how much solid water soluble content it contains, how much alcohol soluble content. Then we'll go for bioassay. Bioassay means the active constituent or the phytoconstituent present in the drug, how much potent activity is having to treat any drug. So just these are the various parameters available for the standardization of any herbal drug. One by one we'll see. So number one, we'll go for organoleptic properties. Here we'll see the color of the drug, taste of the drug, odor of the drug, fracture and texture. Fracture and texture will go for wood and bark. Wood is having external fracture and internal fracture, similarly in bark also. Then fracture means the outer surface and inner surface. On breaking, this type of it breaks like this, then texture, the when we touch any root drug, so it is smooth or coarse appearance or rough appearance we are getting, so that is fracture. Then botanicals, we will go for macroscopy and microscopy. Macroscopy, we will go for shape, size, then external morphological findings we will go. If it is having a primary ridges or like secondary ridges, then we go for macroscopic content, so qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative means we will go for a cellular content, which type of cell it contains. Then SAM studies are the imaging parameters. With the help of SAM imaging, we can SAM is a electron scan microscopy. Then we'll go for powder studies. What powder it contains in the powder of a drug, what are the material are present in that, that is what are the cellular content we are getting it, like stomata, epidermal cells, palisade cells, cork, cambium, then fibers, trichomes, like this. Then we'll go for the physical parameters like moisture content, because it is a very important part. If moisture is there in a stored drug, then it will deteriorate the drug. Extractive values will go, how much extract, water soluble extract is there, alcohol soluble extract we are getting. Ash values, it is again a parameter for determining this contamination of soil or carbon, silica. Then fluorosis analysis will go. In chemical analysis, we will go for again qualitative. Qualitative is HPLC fingerprinting, that is chromatographic techniques. Secondary metabolites, DNA fingerprinting. Then quantitative microscopy, quantitative chemical analysis, again HPLC, high performance thin layer chromatography, GLC is gas liquid chromatography, HPLC is high pressure liquid chromatography. Then various other chromatographies are there: gel chromatography, ion exchange chromatography, paper chromatography, column chromatography, thin layer chromatography. We will go for radioactive contaminations also, because we are sometimes isotopes and isomers we are using for preventing the drug from various other environmental hazards. Then bioassay for will go, antagonist activity, bacterial and fungal activity will go. Then microbial contamination, that total viable count of various microbes present. Then determination of pathogenicity, aflatoxins. Then we go for pharmacological activity, like hemolytic test, then swelling index, foaming index. Then we'll go for toxicological determination of pesticidal ratio, determination of heavy metals like arsenic, lead, mercury. So on these are the various parameters which have been designed by WHO plus ICH guidelines. One by one we will be seeing. So starting from macroscopic study. So macroscopic, as in my previous slide I have told you, the visual inspection. Visual inspection which provides the simplest and quickest mean to establish, identify purity and quality. Which part we are analyzing, either we are for flower, buds or leaves or stem, bark, wood, roots, rhizomes, whatever. So these one are known as the aerial parts. These are sub-aerial parts which are in the soil. They are the root system, and above the soil it is known as shoot system. Above the soil shoot system, or we can say aerial parts, and below the soil they are sub-aerial parts. They are in the dark. So macroscopic identity of medicinal plant material is based on shape, size, color, odor, surface character, texture, fracture, and appearance of the cut surface. So these all will be have to be studied in the macroscopic study. Then microscopic study deals with the cellular content, arrangement of various types of cells, tissues. Hmm? So on the basis of these arrangement of structure, cell structure and arrangement of the cells and tissues, it is a very useful tool for diagnosis or differentiating between the similar species. Suppose one species is having epidermal cells, another species is having some other type of cell. So we have to take the specimen sample and a standard sample, and both have been identified. Select a representative sample of the material, and if it is a dried part, then it requires softening before a preparation. We have, suppose it is a root or a bark or a stem or a fruit. So what we'll do, first we soak them in a water so that it becomes softened, and with the help of very sharp edge blade, we'll take a very thin section, transverse section of that material, and view under the microscope. And with the help of various stains, we can stain various cells, epidermal cells, vacuoles, then stomata, then palisade cells, vascular bundles. So like this we can stain. So any water soluble content can be removed from the cell by soaking. A starch grain can be gelatinized by heating in the water. So starch, already everybody knows that all parts of the plant, starting from flower, fruit, seed, stem, bark, root, rhizomes, they all contains food material, and food is stored in the terms of starch, or so this starch, it has to be gelatinized. So very in quantitative microscopy we have to go for stomatal number. What are stomata? The number of epithelial cells, the epithelial which are converted into the stomata. So this stomatal number, stomatal index, palisade ratio, vein inlet number, vein termination number, lycomode. So all these comes under the quantitative microscopy, and for this we have to make a specific arrangement. We have to take a microscope. With the help of microscope and with the help of camera lucida, we have to obtain a camera lucida. Camera lucida, it is a prism type or a mirror type by which we'll draw a image separately of in 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter. Just will I'll show you this how we can prepare this camera lucid. Just I'll show you with the help of ocular and stage micrometer. Uh, we draw 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter square. 1 millimeter, it is 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter. In this, we draw various epithelial cells which are visible like this with the help of camera lucida. We draw these epithelial cells plus stomatal cells. Here we will draw stomatal cells like they are here like this. Stomata cell is drawn and we'll count how many stomata are present in 1 millimeter by 1 and how many epithelial cells are present in 1 millimeter by 1. So that is stomatal number, and similarly we'll go for stomatal index also. Stomatal index also will go. So with the help of camera lucida and microscope, we may be able to trace out these epithelial cells. Then, as I told you, by visualization we will go for foreign organic matters. Foreign organic matters means part of a medicinal plant material. So, what happens? We'll take a weight amount of sample, spread on a sheet. White sheet will spread it and we'll visualize what are the things they are available here, what are the things we are visualizing here. So here we may able to see the similar things which are similar and which are non-similar. So non-similar we remove. We have taken a weight amount of sample and by that we remove out those non-similar things and we see and calculate the percentage, how much percentage of foreign particles are available. So any organism or part of an organism that other than the named in the specification and description of the, so that is known as a foreign particle. So for limit has been prescribed in the Ayurvedic pharmacopoeia as well as in herbal pharmacopoeia, that is presence of foreign matter should not more than 2% weight by weight. Means if 100 gram sample you have taken, then the permissible limit is for foreign organic matter is not more than 2%. Then we'll go for ash value. As I already discussed you, this ash value is we incinerate a weight amount of powder in a muffle furnace at a temperature of 450 degrees centigrade. So this involves for non-volatile inorganic component like carbon, phosphorus, sulfur. So these especially they have been done to determine the adulterant present in the drug. So high ash value is the indicative of contamination. Suppose we have taken a sample of 500 milligram and you are getting the ash value of 100 milligram, then the ash value content is too much. And if you have taken a 500 milligram of sample and you are getting a ash value of 10 milligram or 15 milligram, that is ash value is low. So if the ash value is coming high, then it confirms the presence of adulterant, contamination, substitution or carelessness preparation in the proof drug. So it is incinerated at 450 degree, minimum 450 degree, but for IP, USP and BP they have given certain parameters. I'll show you. So total ash is designed to measure the total amount of material produced after the complete incineration of the drug material at low temperature as possible, 450 as I told, to remove all the carbons. Total ash usually consists of carbonate, phosphate, silicate and silica. So IP and USP they have prescribed the temperature is 675 plus minus 25 degrees centigrade. BP they have given 600 plus minus 25 degrees centigrade, and as per WHO they have given the range 500 to 600 degrees centigrade. So while incinerating a known amount of sample, and after that we cool the crucible in a desiccator. After cooling it, we will weigh the total ash. The total ash, how much total ash is coming, that will determine whether the drug is adulterated or it is a pure. Just we'll see some parameters. So number one is acid insoluble ash. So ash insoluble in hydrochloric acid is the residue obtained after the extracting the total ash with hydrochloric acid. So it gives idea about the earthy matter. Earthy matter means what are especially for roots, rhizomes, because they are subaerial part, they grown under the soil. So when you are plucking out the plant, so with the soil, these soil particles are adhering to the roots, rhizomes. So these are adhering. We wash them, even though if we have carelessly prepared the drug, so this mud or soil comes with the drug itself. So in acid insoluble ash, we take a drug, treat with acid, sulfuric acid, means ash obtained which is dissolved in sulfuric acid, and then filtered, and after filtrate residue, what we are getting the residue, that residue we weigh up. So IP method give 25 ml of 2M 2 molar HCl solution. USP method give 25 ml of 3 normal HCl solution. BP method give 15 ml water plus 10 ml of HCl. And WHO method give 25 ml of hydrochloric acid, which is having the density of 70 gram per liter. Then water soluble ash. Water soluble ash content, which is we get the ash, we dissolve in the water. After dissolving it, filter it, and after filtration, we will get a residue and a filtrate. Remove the filtrate, dry the residue, and weigh the residue. For all these preparation, we are making use of ashless filter paper. Ashless filter paper, because again we have to burn it. So if your filter paper is provide some ash, then your result will be faulty. So here in this entire process we are making use of ashless filter paper. These ashless filter papers are Whatman filter paper, which on incineration do not leave any ash. So it is a good indicator of presence of previous extraction of water soluble salt of the drug, or incorrect preparation or amount of inorganic matter. Then we have modified these. We are having a certain modification. Carbonated ash, acid treated with ammonium carbonate. Then nitrated ash, acid treated with dilute nitric acid. After obtaining these values, they are compared with the standard value, and if they vary from the standard, means if they obtain below standard or to the standard, means your drug, it does not contain any adulterant or it is not contaminated. If the values are above the normal values, then it means your drug contains adulterant. Now coming to the extractive values, the amount extracted, we will go for water extraction, polar solvent and non-polar solvent. So water is having the maximum polarity. Water is known as a universal extractive or universal solvent. So in this method we will go for cold extraction, hot extraction, or succinate method of extraction. So by extracting the water soluble content, amount of active constituent present in food drug, they are solubilized in the water. A specific solvent, so here I have told you, we are going for water soluble extractive value, alcohol soluble extractive value, and organic solvent like chloroform, benzene, PET, ether. So we are determining the extractive value with the help of various solvents. So again here what we will do, we collect the extract, total extract we will collect, and in that extract we discard the residue, and with the help of that extract we go for qualitative and quantitative analysis, how much secondary metabolite or how much active constituent is present in that, like glycoside, alkaloid, tannin, reagents. So these are the secondary metabolites. Then cold extraction, that is percolation, or we can say maceration. We take a drug in a container, coarse powder of drug, and we put suitable solvent, and with occasional shaking we keep the drug for 10-15 days with shaking. After that we'll filter the drug, we'll discard the mark and take the solvent. So this, after obtaining the cold extract, we remove the solvent from the drug and we'll get the solid content present, solid extract. By the cold extract, water bath product, we'll keep it on water bath to remove the solvent. After the removal of solvent, you get the dry residue, which can be uh, helpful in the calculation of how much percent of extractive value you can calculate. So water soluble extractive value, then alcohol soluble extractive value, solvent strength we are taking here 20 to 95% volume by volume, then solvent hexane soluble extractive value, continuous extraction for 20 hours, example Phyllanthus amaranthus, here extractive value is not less than 3%, then volatile ether soluble extractive value, anhydrous ether continuous extraction for 20 hours, then non-volatile ether soluble extractive value, drug having lipid content fixed oil, example colocin crude, here the extractive value is not more than 3% present in pulp medicinal value. Then insoluble matter which is not solubilized, which is residue, so presence of woody matter or vegetable debris or pieces of bark material, so that is also a valuable part for the determination of extractive value also, as well as for adulteration. So example, in case of catechu, Acacia catechu or catechu gambhir, the water insoluble matter is not more than 33% and alcohol insoluble matter is not more than 30%. Then total solid content, as I told you, after extracting the drug, we remove the extra solvent present with the help of various techniques. Either we will go for distillation method, or if we want to recover the solvent, we will go for distillation or other devices, or we can directly put on water bath. On water bath, the water or the alcohol, whichever solvent you have taken, it will vaporize and you will get the residue. So powder extract not less than 95%, semi-solid extract, because semi-solid extract contains the solvent, so it is not less than 70%. Water content, water plays a very important role in the drug. If water is there present in your stored drug, then it will deteriorate your drug. Deteriorate your drug in terms of your drug will be contaminated by the help of microbes, and by drying the drug, your enzymes present in the drug, they become deactivated. As soon as your crude drug absorbs the moisture, the enzymes activated, and with the help of enzyme activation, microbial growth will occur. So we will go for loss on drying. Gravimetric method is there. We continuously we take a sample, and at a fixed temperature we will keep the sample for 30 minutes, that is at 105 degrees centigrade. If known amount of sample is taken, keep it 105 degree for 30 minutes, then cool down, weigh, repeat the method until the two consecutive readings become same. Then we'll go for azeotropic distillation. Azeotropic distillation, here Tolun distillation method is that. Then by the help of this we can determine the water content present in the crude drug sample. Then with the help of trichromatic Karl-Fischer method, again this is a chemical method. Here we are making use of Karl-Fischer reagent. So this is a trichromatic method. So again we with the drug extract or drug powder is treated here, and by this we may able to determine the moisture content, and finally we can go for gas chromatographic method. With the help of gas chromatography also we may able to determine the water content. Then we will go for volatile oil content. So number of drugs they contain volatile oil. Volatile oil or essential oil, these are the essential oil, they are having a aroma and their density is less than water. Some volatile oil they are having a density more than water. So number of crude drugs they contain volatile oil like clove, coriander, fennel, lavender, sandalwood. So number of drugs they are having volatile oil content in them. So volatile oil are the liquid component of the plant cell, immiscible with water. They are volatile at room temperature and can be steam distilled at ordinary pressure. So with the help of Clevenger apparatus, this is the Clevenger apparatus, we can distill out the volatile oil. So number of herbal drugs they contain volatile, which is used as a flavoring agent and other various medicinal properties like clove. It contains eugenol, which acts as a antiseptic and antibiotic, plus it is also a analgesic, plus it's having a property of to freeze. We can say just so this clove oil. So it is a antiseptic analgesic property for. It contains not less than 15% weight by volume. Then we'll go for bitterness test. Bitterness, medicinal plant, they are having strong bitter taste. Like we'll go for cinnamon, from where we get this quinine. So quinine, it is a bitterest principle available. So these bitterness stimulate the secretion in the gastrointestinal tract, especially for, so they are act as a appetizing tonic. Then bitter properties of the plant material can be determined the comparing of threshold bitter concentration of an extract of a material with the dilute solution of quinine hydrochloride. So quinine is the parameter for bitterness because quinine is the bitterest. Now, and quinine is used as an anti-malarial drug. So bitterness values is expressed in terms of unit equivalent to the bitterness solution of containing 1 gram of quinine hydrochloride in 2000 ml. So this like this we can treat the. So thank you friend. Up till there we have studied the standardization parameters. The next part will be continued in part 2 for the standardization of crude drugs as per WHO guideline and ICH guideline. Thank you very much for your patience listening. Thank you friends.